Hey everybody, it's Beth and welcome back to the Interior Life. Today I'm going to be tackling my home office. So I have these IKEA pieces. I think they're Hemnes. I'm not sure how you say it. 2 bookcases and a chest of drawers that I originally purchased here as a stopgap just to have some storage. But they definitely could look a lot better, and I've always loved the built-in look. So I'm going to use these pieces to create some built-ins for my home office. So I'm just giving you a quick tour so you can see what everything looks like, what I'm working with here. Got this great window that really needs some drapes. The dogs love to look outside and bark at everybody as they go by while I work from home. I've got my desk that I will be keeping. This is from West Elm and it's the industrial desk. I love the light wood, the size of it. It's got a few drawers, which is great. And then I also want to incorporate some of my dad's artwork. I've got 2 pieces in here hanging already, and I really love the colors of them. And there are 2 of my favorites. So this piece that's got, the kind of grid pattern to it, it's very textured. You can actually run your hand over it. And then this piece here, that's actually my very favorite that he's ever done. So I'll be using this as my jumping off point for the colors in the office. So getting started, yes, I have these IKEA pieces, and I went ahead and just stacked the bookcase on top of the dresser so I could see kind of visually what that would look like height wise. So I've taken all of the shelves out of the bookcase itself, and just kind of looking at this, I can see that I'll need to cut into the baseboards to kind of make that flush with the wall, and also remove that top. I've got a special plan for the top of the drawers also. But I'm kind of debating whether I want to cut my carpet out or not underneath there, and we'll just see. So here on the bookcase, I want this to sit flat on the new top that I'm going to create, but you can see I've got these legs here. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to chop those legs off and remove that lower bar there, so everything looks like it sits flat and is, one nice piece on top of the drawers themselves. Then I'll trim everything out. So there's kind of a joke between my mom and I. We have this guy that built a pergola at both of our homes, and he would always say, we're going to dog it. We're going to design as we go. So this is kind of what I'm doing with this project. I'm just going to dog it, design as I go, and figure it out along the way. So it can't be that difficult. I'm not the best woodworker, but I have a feeling that I can definitely figure this out and make some beautiful built-ins for my home office. Another reason for doing this project is that my husband really needs a spot that he can sit that is not the kitchen table for whenever he needs to sit down and do work on his computer, like pay home bills, or if he has to work from home. So I'm going to do a floating desk in between these 2 sections so he has a spot to sit, but he's not going to be in here very often, but when he does, he'll now have a place to sit. So for my project, I did need another chest of drawers. I found these on Marketplace for $100. And that's something else. If you're interested in doing this project, check out Marketplace for the bookshelves and the dresser. If you're going to be painting them, it doesn't matter anyway. So long as they're functioning, you can pick up these pieces a lot cheaper than buying them new at IKEA. So first thing I did was go ahead and fill in the adjustable shelving holes that I knew I wasn't going to be using with some wood filler. And now I'm going to cut off the legs of this bookcase. So I'm just using a carpenter square to get that line nice and straight. So I'm just going to mark it all the way around, and then I have to take apart my IKEA bookcase. So putting together IKEA furniture is a pain enough, and then now I've also got to take it apart again. So I'm just coming over here to my miter saw, and I'm just going to quickly chop off those legs on both sides. So now I've got side panels that will sit flush on the countertop. So I'm just going over every single piece. I'm only showing you this one dresser with my sander, and I'm just giving it a scuff sand so everything will stick when I paint. So this is, you don't have to take it down to the grain or anything like that. It just needs to be a little scuff so the paint sticks a little better. So this is not a painting video. I am not a professional furniture refinisher, but I did purchase the HomeRite Super Finish Max spray gun so I could do a spray paint and get a nice clean finish. So I'm using bin primer here, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint my color, which is Naval by Sherwin-Williams. This is my first time ever using a spray gun, and I gotta say, I really loved it. It made quick work of everything, and it made just a really, really nice finish, and I can't wait to use it again on future projects. So after everything was completely painted and finished and dry, I did go over the top with some poly. I could have used the spray gun with this, but I decided to go ahead and just use a brush and just did, I believe I did 2 coats of poly on this. This is the Varathane Triple Thick, which I actually ended up watering down because it was so darn thick, it was hard to spread. It was like glue. But this will give it a nice protective finish from any bumps or scrapes. And now I've moved in the first piece to start taking out my baseboards. So what I did is I just took my straight edge and then started kind of the cut along the baseboard. I didn't have the particular saw that I would have needed to do this, so I just used a small little flexible hand saw and just kind of sawed away. Baseboard material isn't that thick, so just using this little hand saw was perfectly fine. And then I just used my straight edge to go ahead and cut the caulking off, and then I just used a little crowbar to go ahead and pull those baseboards off. I did decide to leave my carpet. I like to change things so much. I was just really scared that if I took out my carpet and then later wanted to rip these out, that I would be then stuck having to replace carpet. So it's much easier to replace baseboards than carpet. So now that the baseboards have been removed on the sides and the back, I'm just going to screw the dressers into the studs. That way they will not topple over. And then I'm just trimming everything out with some baseboard that I found that matches my existing baseboard. Now what I'm doing is measuring for the floating desk. It is 30 inches tall for a desk height, so I'm measuring out at 28 inches, so I've got room for my countertop as well. And what I'm going to do is just level a line all the way around, and then I'm going to put some cleats on there so I can have a spot for my floating shelf to hang. I'll be adding some brackets later on that you'll see, but for now I'm just adding in the cleats. So I went ahead and just nailed them in to just hold them at first, and then now I'm going to screw those in. There's actually some wood braces behind there that those screws are hitting perfectly. So I've got that extra support for the countertop that I'm going to be putting in. I want to point out as you watch this video that I am not a professional woodworker. This is my first time really kind of doing a project like this. And while my trim out is not perfect, there's nothing that cannot be fixed with some wood filler and some caulk. So moving on to the countertops, I actually found these at our local Floor and Decor. I got 2 8-foot sticks of butcher block countertop. They were $200 each. IKEA also sells butcher block countertop, but what I wanted was not in stock at my local IKEA. But you might be able to find exactly what you want at your IKEA. And I believe there would be about $30 or $40 cheaper. So each stick was $200, so $400 total on the countertops. So I've gone ahead and measured what I need for size. I'm cutting it with a jigsaw. This was not a good idea. It took forever. This is sped up so fast, and I ended up blowing out my jigsaw and went and bought a new circular saw. So that was fun. So now I'm just doing a coating of butcher block kind of sealer. You just rub it on. It kind of keeps that natural matte look that I love. And I'm just going to go ahead and seal the edges as well. So to attach the butcher block to the top of the 3-drawer dresser, I'm just using 4 of these brackets in each corner and just screwing them into the dresser, and then that top hole I will come in from underneath and screw the butcher block on top of the dresser. So now I'll have some new countertops. So for the center floating desk, I have found the studs and I'm just adding in these brackets. These are steel brackets from Home Depot. I had a little bit of trouble with my middle bracket. I kept hitting what was probably some wiring behind that wall. So in the end, I decided not to put a bracket in the center, but I feel great because I've got one on either end and the cleats to hold everything up. And then I can just slide my countertop into place and I'll paint out those cleats and screw those in. So moving on to the trim work, I'm just trimming these out with just some square boards along the sides since the bookshelves are narrower than the dressers below, and just filling in with some trim pieces here. Again, you can see my horrible cutting skills down there, but I'm gonna fix all of that. Again, wood filler and caulk, they're your best friend. So I'm just working my way around here, around the top, framing that out. My husband came in and I don't even think he realized that I was recording. He came in to talk to me. And then I'm gonna add a piece of trim connecting the two bookshelves because my ceilings are like 12 feet high. There's no need to go that high in this office, but I do want it to look completely finished, like it's built into one piece. So I'm gonna use that as kind of a bridge to connect everything. And now it is time to paint. Don't you just love like tarps, how fun they are? So I'm just blocking everything off here so I don't drip any paint on my new countertops. I'm gonna paint the wall behind as well as the wall in between the desk. I'm gonna paint out all of the trim and get ready to see the finished product. So I wanted to point out a few little things here where I finished everything out. So you can see I added some little trim around the legs of the bookcase to kind of make them look a little more finished on top, and then wrap those all the way around to give, you know, just a nice little finish. So on the countertop, I did fill that in with caulk in between because there's a little bit of a gap because of the legs of the dresser. Somebody else could probably perfectly miter that out with a saw, but that's just not me. So I just filled it in with some paintable caulk and gave it some paint. I finished out everything underneath as well, and then on this bookcase I did actually drill a hole in the side and down on the countertop below because our printer will go on that top shelf right there, and now we can run the wires through. My husband can put his laptop there and run the wires down to the electrical outlet below. So again, you can see here that in the end, I did fix all of my cutting mistakes, wood filler, and caulking. It's great. So that is it. That is the finished product. I am super happy with the way that this turned out. It looks so much classier than it did before. And again, I use everything from IKEA except for my countertops. But here's the finished project. I really hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Also, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because my next video will be decorating my home office. Thanks so much for watching.